South Korea may be edging closer to a transformative shift in its defense capabilities as Cho Hyun, the nominee for Minister of Foreign Affairs, announced his intention to push for a revision of the U.S. South Korea 123 agreement. Speaking during a parliamentary confirmation hearing on July 18, 2025, Cho revealed plans to renegotiate the terms of this critical bilateral nuclear accord to permit the pursuit of nuclear-powered submarines, currently restricted under the agreement's clauses. The 123 agreement, originally designed to ensure peaceful cooperation in nuclear energy between Seoul and Washington, bars South Korea from enriching uranium or reprocessing spent nuclear material for military applications, including naval propulsion. Cho's proposal signals a formal effort to gain U.S. approval for nuclear submarine development, a strategic move seen as necessary to reduce reliance on American maritime power and bolster long-range underwater deterrence. Cho emphasized that preliminary consultations had already begun and were made possible after a recent intellectual property dispute between the two countries was resolved, removing a significant roadblock to high-level nuclear technology cooperation. This progress paves the way for potential joint development of advanced reactor fuels such as high-assay low-enriched uranium, HALEU, which could be crucial for small modular reactors and possibly future naval propulsion systems. Throughout his diplomatic career, Cho has held numerous senior positions, including ambassadorial roles in Austria and India, and served as South Korea's representative to the United Nations. President Lee Jae-myung nominated him for the Foreign Ministry portfolio in June 2025 as part of the incoming cabinet reshuffle. The nuclear submarine debate gained momentum in the hearing following a pointed question from lawmaker Kim Gun, who suggested that the U.S. might soon relax its stance on allies operating nuclear-powered submarines, provided proliferation concerns are addressed. Kim pointed to North Korea's alleged submarine collaboration with Russia and its progress on indigenous nuclear submarine technology as evidence of a rapidly changing security landscape. Fellow legislator Yoo Yong-won argued that South Korea might need to make strategic concessions to the U.S. to win approval for changes to the agreement. Cho concurred, suggesting the U.S. could accept expanded South Korean nuclear activity if it remains within civilian bounds, particularly under the flexibilities introduced in the 2015 revision of the agreement, which allows uranium enrichment below 20% U-235. Despite these possibilities, U.S. officials have expressed skepticism. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has stated that aiding South Korea's nuclear submarine ambitions would be complicated, citing existing U.S. commitments under the AUKUS Pact with Australia and the UK. South Korea's controversial nuclear history, including a covert enrichment experiment in 2004, also weighs heavily in Washington's cautious approach. Interest in nuclear-powered submarines is growing fast within South Korea's defense and political communities, fueled by North Korea's suspected launch of a nuclear ballistic missile submarine capable of carrying Pukseokseong-6 missiles. Experts believe Pyongyang's new vessel, likely over 100 meters long, was built with Russian help and represents a leap in North Korea's sea-based nuclear capabilities. This threat has revived attention to South Korea's One Secret 362 project from 2003, which sought to build nuclear submarines based on French designs and Russian reactor technology. Although cancelled after its exposure prompted an IAEA investigation, many believe the project demonstrated Seoul's technical feasibility and could be revived under new diplomatic conditions. Currently, South Korea's KSS-3 submarines offer limited underwater endurance and rely on air-independent propulsion and conventional fuel. Though capable of launching ballistic missiles, they lack the strategic reach and stealth of nuclear-powered platforms. While Batch 2 of the KSS-3 program is ongoing, its limitations have prompted think tanks and military planners to call for an indigenous nuclear submarine fleet, potentially with international collaboration. U.S. Indo-Pacific Commander Admiral Samuel Papero has left the door open, noting that South Korea's pursuit of nuclear submarines could be justified if supported by thorough operational analysis. However, broader support within the U.S. defense establishment remains lukewarm, given overlapping obligations with other allies. Within South Korea, domestic political leaders have begun to frame nuclear submarine capability as part of a broader push for nuclear latency, the ability to rapidly arm if necessary. Figures like ruling party leader Han Dong-hoon and former ambassador Lee Baek-soon have urged the development of uranium enrichment and reprocessing technologies as insurance against future geopolitical instability. This stance resonates with growing public sentiment. Surveys conducted over the past 2 years consistently show over 70% of South Koreans support acquiring nuclear weapons or submarines. In contrast, elite opinion is more restrained, favoring nuclear readiness without breaching international norms. Many back the idea of latent capability that could quickly be weaponized in a crisis, particularly if the U.S. alliance weakens. Operationalizing nuclear submarines requires mastering 5 complex technical domains: the creation of compact naval reactors using highly enriched fuel, a capable industrial base with nuclear-certified shipyards, comprehensive safety and regulatory systems, a trained naval reactor corps, and diplomatic clearance to enrich uranium and potentially bypass IAEA monitoring. While South Korea excels in civilian nuclear energy and submarine manufacturing, it lacks the legal mandate to produce naval-grade fuel. The revision of the 123 agreement would therefore be a pivotal step, not just to authorize fuel enrichment for propulsion but to reshape South Korea's defense posture in response to regional nuclear trends. With both political will and public support rising, Seoul's push for nuclear-powered submarines marks a strategic inflection point, one that could redefine its military independence and long-term security strategy.